Hi everyone, it's Danielle here, creator of and believer in the comms effect. I'm talking quite a bit this week about being silent and how nonverbal communication conveys something. With research showing that people will categorize you within less than 150 milliseconds, it means that your character has already been determined by someone else in less than 30 minutes. That's why they say first impressions matter, right? But I'm speaking specifically to those of you who are consistently silent, who don't speak up and use your voice and thoughtfully contribute to conversations, whether it's in your personal or professional settings. And then for this video, we're speaking professionally, right? I can tell you at my first job, this was back in New Jersey, it was my first corporate job. It was a larger company, and I would sit in meetings with, it would be 30 or 40 of us from the department, and I'd have ideas in my head that I'd want to share, or I'd want to respond to something that someone else said, but I would always silence my voice. I'd say, they're not going to care what I have to say, or what I have to say is stupid, or I want to share it with a friend and say, can you say this, I would silence my own voice. But the aftermath or the downside of that is that it was detrimental to my professional growth. And so fast forward to 2012 when I moved to the DC area, and I was put in charge at my company to lead a monthly ideation session with senior leadership. And what I did was, not having the confidence to take the reins, I would let them have control over how the meeting would go. They would be the ones running the show, where I was given that opportunity to lead, right? To have a more prominent voice and to share my thoughts and ideas and to shape that narrative. But I didn't take advantage of it. Luckily, I had a boss who saw within me what I didn't at the time and said, you know what, Danielle, you have the potential, you have the ability to do this. You can do this. Take control, set an agenda. Within the agenda, for each of the line items you have, make sure you come ready and prepared to speak to each of those items. Have ideas in your mind, have thoughts you want to share. You definitely want to ensure that it's inclusive, right? That you're gathering their thoughts and ideas, but you will come across as much more professional and they will see that you've done the work and have done the research and you're prepared to actually lead that meeting. And having done that for 2 years, it helped elevate my voice. And that is what I believe then helped prepare me for one of my last jobs, was leading 6 mergers and acquisitions from a communication standpoint, not from the business side, the operational side, but from a communication standpoint. Developing the communication strategy for 6 mergers and acquisitions is a huge undertaking. You have the ability to shape the narrative of how information is received, of how it is developed for both internal and external stakeholders. It's a huge responsibility, and one that I didn't take lightly, but having all of those prior experiences, I believe, is what helped prepare me to thrive in that position. So I want to share with you, to not be seen as a mute, or to not be seen as ignorant and not knowing, or to not be seen as someone who doesn't care. There are 3 things that you can do to help prepare you to speak more in, those general sessions, right? Normally it's either your personality or it's the environment you're in is what's contributing to the fact that you don't feel comfortable speaking up. So we're not going to talk about the environment, right? We're not going to talk about toxic work cultures because that's a conversation in and of itself. But looking at the personality, right? If it's a personality thing within you that's minimizing your voice, the first thing you want to do is uncover who you are. You need to identify why it is that you don't feel comfortable using your voice. And that's going to take some work. It's going to take going back, in your mind, in your personal life, in your professional life, to identify what it is that is prohibiting you from speaking up and sharing your thoughts and ideas. And it can be uncomfortable, it can, but you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable if you want to elevate, right? I speak about elevation a lot. I believe it's truly important to surviving and living in this world that we're in. The second thing you want to do is practice. So once you've uncovered who you are and why it is that you don't feel comfortable speaking out, you want to practice the thought or the idea or the contribution that you want to make. In the shower, I practice my videos, my pitches in the shower, or with friends. And sometimes you want to step out of that friend circle because sometimes your friends are going to be too kind and not necessarily give you the advice or the feedback that you need. So then you can reach out to maybe some colleagues who you trust, right? Who are not necessarily that close to you personally, but you trust them professionally and they can give you the constructive feedback you need. And within that realm of practicing, you have to identify who you are pitching to, who you're speaking to. Is the person you're pitching your idea to a data-driven person? Do they thrive on having that kind of like research and numbers, or are they emotionally driven? That's how you want to kind of shape the narrative of what it is that you want to share in that forum, whether it's in a general meeting or if it's one-on-one with your boss. You want to know who it is that you're speaking to, because we are all diverse in thoughts and in personality and in what we contribute to society. So you have to do the work to understand who it is that you're speaking with, and know how to best approach that person. So uncover who you are, practice, and last but not least, please don't be deterred by being shut down, because it's going to happen. Not all ideas are adopted. It could be that it's not the right time and the right place to take on that idea, or maybe you just needed more practice to get it together. There's so many variables that contribute to an idea not being taken up right at that moment, and that's okay. But don't let it set you back or make you feel as though you can't use your voice because that person shut you down. Every time I use my voice or every time I speak up, nobody ever listens to what I have to say. No, that's not always the case. And you have to get out of that mindset because it's going to stunt your growth. So take that with a grain of salt, take that, take the door shutting in your face with a grain of salt, and understand that it was an opportunity for you to learn how to contribute your ideas better next time, or to learn how to best communicate with the person and pitch your ideas to that person because you didn't have a full understanding of their personality, right? Take failure as an opportunity to learn something, because it's only going to help you elevate to the next level in your professional journey. So those are my 3 tips that I want to share. If you take anything away from this, know that your voice does matter, your thoughts matter, your contributions matter, and it's important that you use them. Don't silence your inner voice.